Hello everyone, my name is SeaTactics for the win, otherwise known as Ben, and we are here today to do another unscripted video of sorts about Heaven's Feel 2 Lost Butterfly. These are my first impressions. I asked you guys on a YouTube poll what you guys wanted to see, and you guys wanted to see this happen. So I am here today to talk about Heaven's Feel 2 Lost Butterfly, and if you guys are curious, I will still be coming out with a review in the future, but I want to watch this a couple more times. Like I said, this is simply just my first impressions. So this is going to be my reaction to things rather than my critical analysis, because I haven't seen the film enough to be able to critically analyze this film, because it is a massive, massive film. And with that being said, if you haven't already, you probably want to go check out my previous Heaven's Feel video, which is a massive review. It's over 30 minutes in length, where I went into a lot of details. I'll be doing the same again for Heaven's Feel 2 in the future, which is why we're doing the first impressions here. So, with that being said and getting all of that out of the way, I want to ask you guys to like the video and comment below what your thoughts are on Heaven's Feel 2 and what you thought about the film, or if you've seen it or not. And if you haven't seen it, we're going to be discussing literally everything. Like literally every single thing. This is going to be a long video, so it may be broken up into two parts, it may not, I'm not sure. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So the film starts off with Shiro's nightmare about Saber, him losing Saber. He's obviously not feeling too well about what happened there, which I think is a pretty cool way to start off this film, because for one, the viewer immediately knows this is a nightmare, this is a dream, because obviously we saw what happened to her in the last film. And I like that. It shows that it weighs on Shiro's mind quite a bit. And then after that, we see Ilya show up. Ilya shows up, Shiro goes outside, he gets hit in the head with snow, gets hit in the face with snow, and there's Ilya. She's just there, and this is kind of like, for me, this is my favorite version of Ilya, I guess, because I think you can get a lot of character development from Ilya. No, don't get me wrong, Murder Ilya is really great, and in terms of like entertainment value, I like that Ilya the most. But in terms of character development and how her character is presented, this more calm, more innocent version of Ilya, I like quite a bit, because there's a lot of stuff they could do with this character besides just Bazaka, kill him, stuff like that. And this scene is very reminiscent of the Fate Route scene, which is pretty much the same scene, actually. So if you haven't watched Fate Route, or well, I guess if you haven't played the Fate Route or seen the 2006 anime, or if you haven't watched my playthrough of the Fate Route, which I did on my second channel, links in the description, then this will be new to you. But this has already happened a couple times in the other routes, which is pretty interesting. And in this scene, we kind of learn that servants only fight during the day. I'm pretty sure that's something most people will know, but if you're new to the series, there you go. And Shiro asks Ilya the name Kuritsugu Emiya, and Ilya says that she doesn't know the name and walks off, and she just kind of disappears, which is like kind of like one of Ilya's special powers, is her just being able to disappear a lot. I like this scene. I didn't like how Ilya was shown as like the Oni-chan type of character. I can't believe I just said that like that, but I did. I didn't like that presentation of her, even though that is kind of the way she acts in all the previous routes. They kind of amped it up a little bit, and as well with Sakura, we'll talk about later, there's a problem that I actually had with Sakura as well. There's a couple of issues in this film, actually, that kind of took away from it, but this was the first kind of blemish for me, and it was very early on. Although there's probably about 3 or so blemishes in this film altogether, and they're not, I mean, they're major, but they're not like, they won't ruin your enjoyment of this, and this certainly won't unless you hate the Oni-chan, guy said it again, type of character. So we then cut to Sakura's nightmare about the penis bugs, as I call them, because We can't have videos being made for kids or I'm going to lose my comment section. So penis bugs, penis bugs, penis bugs. Sakura's nightmare about the penis bugs. These bugs are disgusting. And this nightmare, she's in a train. She sees a bunch of people and she's running as the train is leaving. And she trips and falls. And she's sweet little innocent Sakura, right? And there's a bunch of bugs everywhere. And they're the disgusting, awful, just makes me want to gag kind of bugs, which I love it. I hate it, but I love it. But because they're presented as such a horrific fashion, beautifully presented in that way. And that's something that, with Japanese horror, they kind of just go one way. It's usually just like a bunch of rape, a bunch of gore, and that's kind of what they do with horror. But this was like really major skin crawl, and I so very much love that. As well, we have a scene right after this where Shiro hears about Sakura being taken hostage by Shinji and Ryder. And as he's running out the door, before that, we see a couple of seconds of Rin, kind of getting up her courage to knock on the door, because we know from the first film and from, the Unlimited Blade Works route that Rin really, actually loves Shiro. And I like that. I love that about Tosaka, is that she just has this crush on Shiro. She's always just attracted to this guy. And I like how that just doesn't change in this route. I like how they just don't forget about that from what happened in, Unlimited Blade Works. And while those are different routes, it's really it's nice to see there's some continuity between all three of these routes, that things do stay the same. Just because they're different routes doesn't mean the characters change. So I really enjoy that about Rain's character. I like how they keep that right in there, with Rain. Also, Sakura, being taken hostage by Shinji and Ryder. This scene is really great. This scene really is a turning point for the Sakura character, because after this scene, this is where Sakura starts to lose control, which is, for me, as a person who does not know anything about Sakura becoming the psycho crazy lady, it was awesome. This was awesome. So Shiro, basically at the beginning of the scene, fights Shinji. He has a blade. He's threatening to kill Sakura, which at this point, Shinji, I'm just can we put him somewhere? Can we put him somewhere in a dark room and lock him up? I just don't like Shinji. He's such a dick. You know what I'm saying? But as the fight's going on, as Medusa or Ryder is just pounding on Shiro, not in that way. Rin and Archer make the save, as usually Rin and Archer do. Rin and Archer fashion burst through a window. These two are just cool. Rin and Archer together is like peanut butter and jelly. It's just, they're so great. I love their chemistry. I love how Rin, especially in this film, Rin wants him to make tea. Archer refuses, because of course Archer would. He's kind of like a dick. But I love how Rin is not really faltered by that. She's mildly annoyed by that, and she kind of likes. I think she likes that about Archer, which I think is a total Rin thing to do, because Rin is a tsundere after all. She's also an asshole. But we learn in this scene that Sakura is the rightful heir of Mato, which is something we've known since Unlimited Blade Works, I want to say. Something you could have picked up on in Fate Zero even. But, yeah, something we knew, I think, in the 2006 version, or even something we knew in, I'm pretty sure, even Fate Route, if you want to go back to the visual novels. But Sakura is better than Shinji, because Sakura is better than Shinji, and that's just I'm better than Shinji. I could win a Holy Grail war if it was just me and Shinji. I would do everything I can to kick that guy's ass. But Medusa, Ryder, uses the Mystic Eyes of Petrification, which is, I think, the second time she used one of her Mystic Eyes. I think in Unlimited Blade Works she used a version of it. But in this one, it's the Mystic Eyes of Petrification. It's Medusa, after all. Of course she would be able to use something like that and turn people into stone. But I love Mystic Eyes, ever since, was it Lord El Meloy and some Fate Apocrypha and Garden of Sinners and Tsukihime. It's been a thing that's in the Fate universe for the longest time. So seeing this guy's used here in Fate after a while, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And at the end, Sakura loses control because of the liquid that was from the earring, which made everything about her sensitive and stuff, which ties into her touching herself later. But she loses control, and she can't help it. And she almost kills Shiro and Rin and everyone. She even, I think, hurts herself at the very end of the scene. She stabs herself with these weird sharp ball things. I don't know what they're called. But Kirei, my man, Kirei, and don't take that seriously. Kirei is definitely not my man. He helps out. But they come to this conclusion that they're going to have to win the Grail to fix Sakura. Because Sakura has these things inside of her, these worms, that eventually will probably kill her. Much like how the guy in Fate Zero did. I can't remember his name for the life of me. It's been like a year since I've seen Fate Zero. But I do, once again, we talked about it in the last review for Heaven's Feel 1. I wonder what Kirei's role will be in this film, because Kirei he's kind of like the odd man out in this. Like, he's really good. I wonder. After that, we have this scene where it's revealed that they're sisters, and I love the reveal. It was awesome. It was something I couldn't have asked for a better reveal, honestly, because I think Shiro sort of figured it out even earlier when Shiro was in Rin's house and saw the picture of Sakura. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really nice touch. I like that by the end of this, they're calling them sisters. It's really nice. It really is. We also learned that Rin inherited magecraft from the Tosakas, and that by the end of this, Rin wants to be the one to kill Sakura. And I wonder if she will be, because we saw later in the I guess the flash forwards, Shiro slicing off the head of Sakura, but I wonder if that's the path that leads him down to becoming Archer. So if you don't know, now you know. But Unlimited Blade Works, it's revealed that Shiro Emiya is indeed Archer. Archer is just a future self, the bad version. That if Shiro takes a twist and a turn, he's gonna get white hair and become a very bad person. A lot of white hair going on in this film trilogy. We got Sakura. We're probably going to have Shiro having white hair. I mean, who else? So Shiro has to basically find Sakura before Rin does. And we see a little bit of a scene between Ilya and Shiro. And Shiro, or Ilya gives Shiro a pat on the head, which is just so cute. And Ilya's like, I'm on your side. Shiro. I can understand that you love someone that much and you want to protect them. And I feel like Ilya at that point is talking probably about Berserker and her family and even Shiro at this point. That's just my theories on that. I know for sure she's probably talking about Berserker. That's the most likely one, because she cares a lot about Berserker. But Shiro finds Sakura. We get a confession scene. This is another instance where I think this is a blemish on the film. This confession was generic. Generic, my friends, is what I would call it. And it wasn't generic for the longest time. It got to some good stuff by the end. Like, for example, when Sakura starts talking about how she's not a virgin anymore, that she's impure, she's defiled, she tried to commit suicide, and Shiro doesn't even really care about that. And I'm like, yes, Shiro's not a nerd. I love that. I think that part was great. But the part where Sakura is just crying in her voice and she's doing all the generic stuff of like, I don't deserve to be here. Like, I get it. I get why she would feel that way. There's nothing wrong about that. It was just the presentation of it was very much like, it's like the same thing with like the Rim confession scene in ReZero. It's just this idealistic way to view a confession scene. We've seen it before. It's not good here. It wasn't good in ReZero, in my opinion. This is probably a very controversial statement for me to say, but I just don't like it. I didn't like it. I liked everything else. Didn't like the presentation for most of it. But at the end, Shiro gives Sakura those keys back, and I like that. I like that. And they're walking back, holding hands, because they're about to go smash. No, they actually don't. That's later. They pass Reen and Archer. Reen is like, God damn it, I lost. And Archer is like, if you continue down that path, the path. If you keep going down the path, you'll lose everything. You're idealistic, Shiro, Archer, me. You're idealistic, me. And I don't think that's good for you. I don't think you should do that. Reen, let's go back. Make me some tea. Got a phone. Got a notification on the cellular right here. Oh, that's no one important. So Sakura needs some blood. Because of course she does. This is another blemish. This scene was either bad or just really weird. I can't tell. But Sakura needs some blood, so Shiro's like, hey, I'll just bite my finger. Because that's what anime characters do. They bite their finger. And gives her some blood, and she's like licking on it. She's got like steam mouth. This is like straight out some hentai right here. She's got saliva dripping from Shiro's finger. I'm like, come on, just mana transfer already. Come on, get it out of the way. Thankfully, it happens later. It's just ridiculous. I didn't like this either. This was cringy. This was for those like basement dweller otakus. Like, this was not a fun scene to me. Didn't do anything for Sakura's character. It was just a weird, awkward moment between the two that I'm pretty sure made to be intentionally weird, but just came off as weird in not a good way, and was not fun. So Ryder's like, hey, what do we do about Kide? And Sakura's like, yeah, he can't. No way Kire can win. He's done. He's donezo. I'm too powerful. Which is like the first big major like crack we see in Sakura as well, of like her like being this different side of her. This and then this continues. Sakura starts touching herself, which is, I mean, I'm okay with that. But so that was the way she started like fondling herself. Was a much better way than what they did with the lewd saliva. Let me get your blood for a moment from your finger there, Shiro. This was way better presented at that. Not because I'm attracted to anime girls or anything, but because it was a weird scene. But it made sense. It showed that Sakura was just flipping losing it. The scene before just seemed like, I don't know, like some weirdo's, fantasy. That's what it seemed like to me. But this just seemed like this was like crazy. This is some crazy stuff because we never seen Sakura as this pure character. We only know her for her soft Hinata-like tone and voice. But now she's touching herself? Interesting. And apparently, she does it all the time. Who knew? And she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she is losing it, my friends. Losing it. She's saying about how she wants to keep Shiro safe, so she'll just keep him away from everybody, keep him inside. I'm like, oh, Shiro, you better watch out. This is not the one. This is not the one, Shiro. She's crazy. But, it's an anime, so you gotta have it play out this way. You gotta have Shiro have to make the mistake first.